Hi, Julie here, and I'm going to be altering some playing cards today. Those two large cards are from decks of cards that a game that my family plays. Two different decks, that's why they're different colors. And then I've got these two modern cards that I got from somebody. I don't even know where they came from, but my first tip is to always make sure you sand off a glossy surface. So especially cards, newer cards that are coated, you just give them a good sanding. I've got an old nail file here, and I'm just roughing up the surface so they're ready to receive any media that I'm going to put on them or any glue. It'll just increase the adhesion. I'm giving all of them a card, even though these cards have been used. Here are the ones from my family game. I'm just making sure that they're in the best possible position for the mixed media. So I'm going to start with this kind of weird card here, and I want to cover that up. So I'm taking some very dark tissue paper, and I'm in here putting glue all over the card. I'm going to use the light to make sure I've got a good surface coating of the glue all over, and then I'm just going to stick this tissue paper to it, and I kind of got a lot of glue on there, and I'm going to just set it aside to let it dry. Next, I'll be taking this red card and some molding paste. I think this is the Vicky Bouton molding paste. I'm going to just ice that card with this molding paste and give it a nice coat of the white. And my goal here is to cover up all the red on this card. So I also have some cheesecloth in a bag. I think I just got this at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just cutting off a little piece and kind of stretching it to give it an aged appearance. And I'm just going to start pressing it into the molding paste. Now you can do this technique with gesso or regular paint. I just happen to have this jar near me, so that's why I grabbed this one. But this technique will work with any of those. You're just building up layers and then adhering the fabric into it to give it some texture. This is a really fun technique. It's kind of fun to play with. It's like you're icing a cake, but you have a very small surface to work with, so it doesn't get like crazy out of control or messy or anything. Well, maybe a little messy, but it doesn't get out of control because the card is only so big. Like I said, my goal is to just cover up all the red, and here I'm just kind of icing over the cheesecloth again, and I'm pulling any pieces that were off the edge into the paste so that it won't be like far off the edge. It'll all be attached, and adding another piece here just to kind of create the texture and the look that I want. I've got a piece of this dressmaker's tissue, and I'm just cutting some small pieces and putting it to the edges just to add a different texture and a little bit of color to it. It just is a subtle color because I'm going to go over it again with the paste and just help it to blend in. It's just like a nice little accent, I think. All right, now that has to dry because it's a pretty thick coat on there. So we're going to set that aside and do that last. I've got this first card here. Really like the plaid on this one and the patina of it. It's a really nice color. I've got all this washi tape. I have a lot of Tim Holtz washi tape, which is, I think, what most of this is I'll be using here. But I'm just going to start layering with washi tape, which is one of my favorite ways to decorate something. I'm adding glue because washi tape is notorious for having non-permanent adhesive, so I just want to make sure it sticks. Another tip I have with washi tape is to go ahead, if you have a thick tape, rip it in half lengthwise and layer that, and it just adds another visual texture to your piece. I'm also going to be putting down this piece of book paper that is from an Alice in Wonderland book that I was working on, and adding a little texture of dressmaker's tissue over it. and some more washi tape. Just layering things up, making some little distress clusters. Another little piece of paper there. Some more washi tape. I see a number on one of these washi tapes, and I realize I want to use that as kind of a focal point, so I'm gonna rip it off and then add it there to that blank space of the white paper so you can see it. I really, really love how this is coming out. Don't be afraid to just layer up your washi tape and just let it blend into each other and become some interesting textures in the background. That piece of lace there, I just auditioned it, but I decided I didn't like it there. So now I'm just trimming off the edges of the washi tape that ran over the edge of the card. And I'm thinking about what I'm gonna put on this card. And I have some butterfly pieces here from a piece of Maggie Holmes paper. I think it's a heritage piece, or from the Heritage Collection. And I'm gonna put it right there. I've got this Rusty Hinge distressed ink. I'm just gonna edge around it just to help it blend into my distressed look I've got going on this card. I'm loving it. Don't you just love those two little butterflies? So cute. Adding some glue to them, getting them on the card. Perfect. Now I've got this bottle of glitter copper ink, and I'm just taking the spritzer off and just sprinkling some dots around on the card. Should have covered my surface, but hindsight is 2020. And there it is. Now it's got speckles all over those butterflies. It's so cute. I think that one is just about done. Let's see, I'm moving on to the next card. So I'm adding some glue there and a big piece of the Tim Holtz fabric tape with the flowers. That is probably one of my favorite tapes I have right now. It's just so pretty. Perfectly distressed looking. So, but it's like tape, but it's like fabric. Just round in the corners to go with the card shape. And I've got this piece of lace again, so I found the perfect home for it. It's gonna go right there on top of that piece of fabric tape. Loving that so much. Just like a good vintage mix. And here is the cutest bunny stamp in the world. And I'm gonna grab a piece of vintage paper and do some stamping on it. I got my Black Ranger archival ink, which is pretty much my basic black I do all the time. Oh, that's not vintage paper that I'll be using. It's just regular paper. And there he is. Look how cute he is. So I'm just gonna rip him off from the rest of the paper using this ruler and just kind of do some gentle paper ripping. Okay, it's kind of white to be there on that vintage display. So of course I'm getting my favorite distress ink color, old paper, and just fixing this white paper, making it look vintage. There's the vintage paper I love. And this is a technique I've perfected called flicking, where I just flick the edge of the paper onto the ink pad, and it just adds a darker color of the distress ink and a kind of a thick edging to it. And I'm showing you here the difference from where I distressed it to where it started to now where it's finished, where it's perfectly distressed. He's gonna go right there in the middle of the card. I'm trying a few pieces, auditioning some things to see what kind of layers he needs behind him. I've got this tissue paper from the dressmaker's pattern. I've got a piece of paper or cardstock that I'm just gonna kind of put behind him to add a layer. So it's not even a very big piece. It's just gonna kind of go over one edge. Flicking again because it just really adds something. I'm gonna get some thread. This is upholstery thread. It's kind of thick, but it's the only white one I have right now. So I'm just getting a really long piece, kind of gathering it into a circle, and I'm gonna glue that down underneath the card just to add another texture. So I'm just gonna glue everything down. How cute is that? I just think that's adorable. Okay, I'm gonna put that brass heart on it just to hold it all down while it dries. Next, I've got my tissue paper covered card, and I'm going to go ahead and work on that one now. I'm actually using a corner rounder. Instead of trimming up the corners, I'm just changing all the corners by cutting them all the same. I've got a little piece of fabric here that was kind of yelling out to me, so I'm just figuring out the best place to put it. But before I can put it anywhere, apparently I've got to get out my jar of paper letters and find a word. So I've got 2 words in mind, hope and wish, and it's kind of like whatever letters I find first is the one I'm going to go with. So I found the wish first. I'm getting this little piece of fabric ready to go, stapling it on, and then I try to put the wish on, and it is, yes, it is too big. So back to the jar of letters they go, and I pull out another package of letters I have. These are very old. They are the Girls Papery Tinsel and Twig Christmas letters, I think. And I have to dump them all out of my desk to find the right letters, apparently. But I'm thinking I have to go with a 3-letter word now, because the 4-letter word just did not fit. So I end up finding the word fly, and I think that is pretty awesome. So that is what we're going with. I'm just coloring up the edges here. I got my Faber-Castell big brush pen, and it's perfect for just going along the edges. My only tip with this is to make sure when you do it, if you're right-handed, you hold the pen in your right hand and you hold the letter face up, because if you hold it face down and it slips, you're going to draw on the front of it. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm just looking for a butterfly now. Oh no, there's some words in there that I see that I want to use. So now I'm looking for my butterfly to make sure I get a butterfly on there. It's very important because I'm doing my 100 days of the project right now, and that is 100 days of the butterfly book. So these cards will become part of my butterfly book 100-day project. So if you are not sure what that is, or if you want to see all the things that I'm doing for this 100-day project, be sure and check out my Instagram channel, which I'm linking below, and you can see all 100 days of the butterfly book project. If you're let's see, right now is March 2022. I'm still in the middle of the project. So if you're watching this later than that, of course, you can see them all at one time. Otherwise, you can just follow me and see them all as they go. But anyway, there it is. Fly. There's my butterfly. And there's some sweet little words on it. The words say, now's your time. All right, so now I've gotten a little bit smarter. I've put down something to protect my surface, and I've got this copper colored spray again and just making some drips over the texture paste and cheesecloth confection I made a while ago, which is really cool. It's not 100% dry yet, but I'm okay with that. So some of the drop marks, some of the splatter marks are going to hold their shape, and some of them are going to kind of wick into the wetness that is the texture paste. And I'm okay with both of those things going on right now. So apparently more drops are better. So I've got some Heidi Swap Gold Shine here that I still have, and I'm just adding it to that. So now it's got two-tone drops on there. I'm finding a butterfly from out of this pack of butterflies I got from the Dollar Tree a while back, years ago, and find the perfect butterfly that's going to go right in the middle of that card. And just like that, it's done. Look at all that texture. That's pretty awesome. Love that one. Actually, I love them all. Okay, there's the butterfly and the bunny and the fly. And then that one, the other butterfly. I am going to put something here on the back real quick. I've got my Prima stamps, and I'm going with a word. I believe I'm going with journey, which is 7 letters. And as I stick it on there, I realize that doesn't fit. It's too long because of the spacing of the stamps. It's not going to all fit across. I mean, now at this point, I guess I could have done it down the side, but I went with another word. So now I'm looking up the letters. I love this little stamp set. And I realize it is going to fit. So I'm grabbing my Archival Ranger Jet Black ink again, and I stamp right down there. And now it says Wander. And that's it. That's me altering some playing cards. I hope you try this, because it can be a lot of fun and a great way to make some ephemera. Thanks for watching. Bye.